This is a very important story, very important. And I hope you will share this with people around the world, because the EU is preparing a Maidan-style coup in Serbia. Mark my words, this is coming, folks. According to Russian intelligence service, the EU is trying to overthrow the Serbian government in a Ukrainian-style Maidan coup. We've been warning about this for months, hearing from journalists in Serbia who've been telling, they're like, Clayton, something big is coming. I'm telling you, something big is coming in Serbia. Begging us here at Redacted to cover this story, and we have been. And we're trying to shine as much light as possible on this story. All eyes on the Balkans right now. I know we're all concerned with what happened with Charlie Kirk, and rightly so. We just covered what's going on in Israel. But I'm telling you, the Balkans right now is a powder keg, and it is waiting to go off. Yesterday, Serbian President Vučić said governments of those governments in the EU are financing protests. They've so far spent over $4 billion. $4 billion inciting violence and unrest inside of Serbia. And frankly, across the Balkans. EU governments and the United States have been financing protests across Serbia, trying to destabilize this government. Watch for something to happen near September 20th or as we approach November 1st. On September 20th, Serbia is celebrating its Armed Forces Day. They're getting tanks and military equipment ready for that massive parade. So Vučić, but also on November 1st, but I'll talk more about that in a second. So Vučić just admitted that billions are being spent to collapse his government and install a Western-backed proxy government. But he admits that he had to remain silent about it prior so as not to violate any neutrality agreements between his country and theirs. Russian intelligence reports say the EU via NGOs are planning to start protests on November 1st as well. And you see what influence, obviously, the sphere of influence, what Western governments want within the Balkans. I mean, Russia would love nothing more to have than ports all along the Adriatic Sea and all through that entire region along the Adriatic and Aegean Sea. The United States would love nothing more to have than a presence, of course, inside and push Kosovo. And, look, we built a freaking military base there, for crying out loud, after Bill Clinton oversaw the bombing campaign for 78 days, which destroyed Belgrade, which you can still see the remnants of. I was there, and I walked down the streets of Belgrade, and you see bombed out buildings where NATO bombed them. So these wounds are very fresh in Serbia. But something is coming, and they're actively, and of course USAID, Samantha Power, and all of them were actively funneling as much money as they could into this area to try to destabilize Serbia. So our hearts go out to the people of Serbia. We love you here at Redacted, and we are going to shine a light on this as much as possible. I think if we can get out in front of this false flag and out in front of this Maidan-style coup, we won't have a repeat of what happened in Ukraine, because I would be absolutely heartbroken if the people of Serbia have to deal with what happened in Ukraine happens in your country.